Are you curious about the June 6th e-patch and if it's required to be able to launch the game through the EA app after June 10th? Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my Sims 4 news video. I'll cover that, some basic things to keep in mind for game updates, including how to update your game through the EA app, and week 2 of the Happy at Home login event. So the Sims Direct tweeted and also posted this on the Sims Discord. So we just released an e-patch to address the last exception error that reset Sims during pool interactions, a reported crash in the DirectX 11 preview, and login reward issues, and it linked to the patch notes, which I will go over, but not right now. First, I'm going to talk about that, whether it's required to do this update to be able to launch the game after June 10th, per this tweet questioned by the English Simmer. And the Sims Direct replied and said, regarding the EA app's maintenance, if you updated your game over the past week, you will not run into any issues launching The Sims 4 through the EA app. So I took that to mean the May 28th game update, and that today's game update isn't actually required to be able to launch the game after June 10th if you play through the EA app. Of course, this isn't relevant if you don't play through the EA app, which would of course include console players. However, it was actually a pretty minor update, so personally I would just say do the update. It didn't even disable mods, and then you don't have to worry about it. Of course, if you hadn't updated as of May 28th, then when you go in, you'll have to do this update because it just puts the updates all together, so you get all of the updates rolled into one if you update late. So if you've done the update to May 28th, you don't need to do today's update, I think, from what this is saying. But personally, I would say just do the update. But if you're curious what that's about, I do have a separate video. There's some maintenance happening with the EA app, and you will have to have your game updated by June 10th, or if you haven't done it by June 10th, at that point, they'll force you to update the game at whatever the update is at that point to be able to launch the game. However, afterwards, after you've done that one-off, making sure your game is up to date, in the future, you won't be required to do any updates. And when I say you won't be required to do any updates, I mean for people like me who temporarily avoid the updates, I have my automatic updates disabled through the EA app, and then I go offline to avoid updating my game while I'm waiting to see if there are any issues and for mods to be updated and whatnot. And then I update in a few days as opposed to right away at the beginning. And that is something that we will continue to be able to do through the EA app going forward. If you're curious how to see if your automatic updates are on or off, here's what mine looks like. Mine are off, and the default, my understanding is that it will be automatically on. So you would go into settings and then the download area. The download area is actually for your games, and the application has another thing where you can have that set to be on or off for automatic updates. That's actually for the EA app. So I had some people asking me how to update your game through the EA app. Again, if you have it set to go automatically, it should just happen automatically. If you, like me, don't have it set to be automatically done, when you go into your EA app, as long as it's online, you should see this game update required. You will see this blue button that says update. You just select that button, push it, and it'll come up with a little pop-up to ask you to confirm something. You say yes, and then it goes through the process of updating, which you probably see the whole other process if you ever sit at your computer, even if with automatic updates. It would just do it when you open up your EA app. If you don't leave your EA app open, otherwise you might not see it happening, but usually it validates the files and then it goes through and does the update, as you can see here, because I got a little video clip of it when it was happening today. Now, just for a quick point, here is my basic steps for how to prepare for computer players. So even with this minor update, I still backed up my saves. Back up your saves means to make a copy of them and paste them elsewhere, preferably an external hard drive, but anywhere else on your computer, or I'm saying preferably an external hard drive, but you could have a USB key, or you could have somewhere online where you're keeping your backup of your saves. And that means you're going to have 2 copies of your saves. And usually you would move your mods folder to your desktop, but mods weren't disabled this time, so I didn't. I would only do that if you end up seeing that you're having problems. Then you should revert back to the normal testing with your mods folder out. And then after I update, I did repair my game in the EA app, or some Mac players are still on Origin, and then I also deleted my local thumb cache file. My understanding for console players is if you fully turn off your console, leave it off for a few minutes, and then turn it back on, that's the equivalent of deleting your local thumb cache file. I would recommend doing that after every update. And then, of course, the whole point about, putting your mods and stuff back in, hopefully they're fine and you shouldn't have to do that. And this reminder, they weren't automatically disabled with this update. And I do have a tutorial video with more details and, the part about temporarily avoiding, not really that important with this particular one. So one other thing, when you're backing up your saves, I recommend you back up your user setting.ini file, because that is actually where all your details for your Happy at Home login event are. And also if you play on more than one computer, or you move to a new computer, you need to take that and put it onto your new computer if you want to have those unlocked on the new computer. Unless, of course, in the future they tie it into your EA account, but right now it isn't, and this is where it is capped. So for the update notes, sneaky login event bugs. Sneaky, because I guess we could get some of the things without, but now we can't. And DirectX 11 preview fixes. Of course, it's a preview because it's optional. You don't have to be doing it. There are the version numbers after this most recent update. With PC and Mac, the only thing that changed is that 3-digit 151. It used to be lower, but the 1107, because that's still the major part of the update, was the same as the May 28th update. I'll show you what it looks like in both cases on the menu after. So here are the bug fixes and updates, and most of them were for base game, and most of them were for the Happy at Home login event. A couple were the fact that you could get to the items before they were unlocked through Create a Sim by randomizing in build mode by, selecting the event and then the color, and it would show all of them, including things that weren't unlocked, and you no longer can do that. However, you can get the rooms from the gallery and still get them that way. I'll show that a little bit at the end. And also, they addressed that last exception error that caused Sims to reset after completing certain pool interactions. I had that. I'm very happy to see that it's been fixed. And I also went into my game today after the update, and I still had my MCCC in, and I wasn't getting the orange notifications. And when I was playing last night, which was the first time I had actually played since the update, it was like constant. constant. And I'm very happy that has been resolved. They fixed an issue with the Happy at Home login event in Spanish. There was some text missing. And hopefully, they're not saying this here, hopefully it's now rolled out to some of the players who hadn't got it yet. Because I know they said it was delayed and you should have it by June 13th if you didn't have it already. But it's a new week, so hopefully some of the players who didn't have it. And then for DirectX 11 preview, this is only for Windows players because other, like Mac has something else and console has something else. And it's optional where you go into your manage and you can put DX11 to do it. But if you don't do it, it's still on DX9. If you go check and it tells you your DX12, that's just what your computer can handle. The game is on DX9 regardless, unless you opt into DX11. So there was a crashing issue at launch when MSAA was enabled. And I'll show a little screenshot as to what that is. I'm not really up on graphics terms. And there were some various other stability improvements and fixes. One thing to note is that if you are doing the DX11 preview and you play in full screen, which I usually do, the Alt tab won't work. But if you just switch it to Windows full screen, then it works. And that's what I've been doing while I've been testing it out. And there's a thread on EA Answer Headquarters where you can report the issues. So here is where you can look on the main menu. It's in the bottom right hand corner. This version there was the version after the May 28th update. So it's 1107112. The last four numbers are just Windows, and Mac has a different number. And the DX11 is just that I'm previewing the DX11. And if you're not, you will see DX9 if you're on Windows. And here it is after today's update. So you can see instead of, it's now 1107.151 if you're curious what version of the game that you're on. So of course, it's the start of the second week of the Happy at Home login event. So I claim that. I was really happy to get that bar. And then my next one is going to be, of course, the next day, which is not far from now. It's going to be that hairstyle. So one thing that I've seen a few people commenting about is that after they collect the things for the week, right now I have one more, but after I collect this one, it'll still say to come back tomorrow to collect, but you won't get anything until, in this case, week 3 starts. So, which they show you the date there for when week 3 starts. So that's where you want to look as opposed to like the come back tomorrow. I think that's there because if you're late to the event, you got it at the beginning, but you never logged in, you would be able to collect the items. You don't have to wait for the weeks. You would just get day 1 week 1 you would get it, and then you get 2 and then 3, and then you'd go right away into week 2 until you get to the point at the end. Let's say you came to week 4 and you started doing it then. And that's what that daily thing, I'm pretty sure, is why that's different than where the week 1 is. As I said, I have a room on the gallery and I put it here, and there's all sorts of rooms on the gallery with all the event items, and the only things currently locked are the pillow and the vending machine. But you can actually change the color if you have I have a room with one color, and I tested and I was able to change the color of the vending machine, which I haven't unlocked yet. So that's still available, even though you can't actually use the little trick, because you can see it's not showing in the preview of the things. You can only see the things that have been unlocked, as they said in the update notes. So let me know what you think about the update, and if you have any questions in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!